I hope they give one of the must-do things is to give Shedeur a chance, a real chance. I want him with the ones from the OTAs all the way through training camp. And let's see what he's got. If he's not good enough, I'll be the first one to admit it. I don't believe that. I think the kid can play.
Deshaun Watson hasn't been great or a high-level quarterback since 2020, before the Browns traded for him. He's never been that guy for Cleveland, and now he's old and always hurt.
He's going to be terrible. Okay, it was terrible last time. It's not going to work this time. We're kidding ourselves. It's still Deshaun Watson, this time coming off an injury.
Chris, let's say Deshaun Watson balls out, and you have to start him. Let's say he starts 5-2. Who knows what happens? Let's say he gets on the field and wins 4 games in a row. What if he gets on the field and wins 9 games out of 12 that he plays? In other words, no one's considering the scenario where he's good.
Deshaun Watson, a 30-year-old broken-down veteran who hasn't looked like an NFL quarterback since Obama was president, is going against Shedeur Sanders, a 25-year-old rookie who showed more promise in 7 starts than Watson has shown in the last 3 years. Cleveland sports legend's Tony Rizzo is losing his mind, because this isn't just a bad decision, this is organizational sabotage. This is the Cleveland Browns doing what they do best, finding the absolute worst possible way to handle the most important position in football. On one side, you've got Deshaun Watson, a quarterback who hasn't been good since 2020, a quarterback whose last QBR was 21, making him the worst starting quarterback in the entire National Football League, a quarterback who threw more hospital balls than touchdowns. And on the other side, you've got Shedeur Sanders, a rookie who stepped into the worst situation in football, with a head coach who didn't want him, a game plan designed for a retirement home, and still, Shedeur managed to win more games than anyone else on that roster. And even after showing all his thrills and qualities, Shedeur is now thrown in quarterback battle against Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson has never had as many passing yards as Shedeur. All right, and they both played 6 games, 7 games. Like, Shedeur more touchdowns, obviously more interceptions for Shedeur as well. But if you want to talk about mobility, Monken likes the scrambling quarterback. Shedeur's got more rushing yards than Watson.
Watson has never, not in one single game, thrown for as many yards as Shedeur did in his limited action. Never, not once, not even close. But sure, let's hand him the starting job because, why exactly? Because we paid him too much money to admit we were wrong? Because Andrew Barry's ego can't handle another quarterback failure? Because Jimmy Haslam thinks he can wish Watson back to his Houston days if he just believes hard enough. This is exactly what Joey Donnie was talking about when he compared Watson to a toxic ex-girlfriend.
It's almost as if Watson is like a toxic ex-girlfriend. You've been with her, didn't work, toxic for a reason, and now you're sat here thinking, well, maybe it would work out this time. Maybe she's changed. Maybe we could be something. He's going to be terrible.
The Browns have been in this relationship with Watson for 3 years. The whole Cleveland know how it ends. We've seen the interceptions. We've watched him take sacks that a high school quarterback would have avoided. We've suffered through the conservative play calling because the coaching staff didn't trust him to push the ball downfield. And now we're supposed to believe after 2 Achilles tears and another year of rust, he's suddenly going to be the answer? Get out of here with that nonsense. But Tony Rizzo brought up something that should make every Browns fan's blood boil. Even in the fantasy scenario where Watson somehow plays well, and that's a massive if, what's the end game?
What if Watson's good? Hold on. You're not bringing him back next year. Why would I want to build his resume for another team?
Even if Watson balls out, and again, the chances of that are about the same as me winning the lottery while getting struck by lightning, he's gone after this season. His contract expires, he walks, and we're left holding the bag, having wasted an entire year building up a quarterback for another team to benefit from. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders, the kid we actually have under contract for 3 more years, is sitting on the bench watching his development get stunted because we're too stubborn to admit the Watson experiment failed. Does that make any sense to you? Because it sure doesn't make sense to me. And Rizzo dropped the perfect comparison that should end this debate once and for all.
Yep. All I know is I watched Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl. Yeah. And you'd have laughed me out of this chair 2 years ago if I told you that was going to happen.
Sam Darnold. The same Sam Darnold who was a bust with the Jets. The same Sam Darnold who everyone wrote off. The same Sam Darnold who got one real chance with competent coaching and a functional organization and just won a Super Bowl. But the Browns? We're about to do the exact opposite with Shedeur Sanders. We're going to take a talented young quarterback, we're going to destroy his confidence by making him compete with a 30-year-old who can barely walk, we're going to stunt his development by splitting reps, and then we're going to act shocked when he doesn't reach his potential. This is the Cleveland Browns playbook, folks. This is what we do. We take promising young talent and we ruin it. Baker Mayfield, run out of town. Now he's thriving in Tampa Bay. Deshaun destroyed his confidence, out of the league. Johnny Manziel never had a chance with this organization's dysfunction, and now we're about to add Shedeur Sanders to that list unless someone in that building grows a spine and makes the obvious decision. Shedeur played 7 games behind the worst pass protection in modern NFL history, and people are ready to write him off completely. The double standard is insane.
Worst offensive line in the league when Shedeur was out there. You can't tell me that's not a factor. Like, actually, though, you can't tell me that's not a factor. You're seeing quarterbacks that are franchise guys right now, like C.J. Stroud, fall apart.
The offensive line matters. The coaching matters. The supporting cast matters. You can't just throw a rookie quarterback into a burning building and expect him to walk out unscathed. But that's exactly what the Browns did to Shedeur. They threw him into a situation where he had the worst pass protection in football, no running game whatsoever. He led the team in rushing in most of his starts, a coaching staff who didn't want to play him and only did so because the other options were somehow worse, conservative play calling that handcuffed his abilities, special teams that gave up big returns like they were handed out free samples at Costco, and despite all of that, he won more games than anyone else on that roster. He showed flashes of brilliance. He made throws that had Browns fans jumping off their couches.
Running away from it is Sanders. He's looking long. He's got a man. Caught at the 10-yard line. Bonds. He's down to the 1-yard line.
He gave us hope for the first time in years. But sure, let's bench him for a guy who couldn't beat out Bailey Zapp in a quarterback competition. The disrespect is astronomical. And here's the thing that really gets me, the thing that makes me want to put my fist through a wall. Todd Monken, the new head coach, has already said he's excited to work with Shedeur. He's already praised his arm talent, his mobility, his football IQ. Monken even admitted that he tried to draft Shedeur when he was in Baltimore. So the new coach, the guy who's supposed to be leading this team into the future, wants to work with Shedeur. But Andrew Berry, the general manager who has botched every single quarterback decision since he took over, he's the one pushing for Watson. Let me remind you of Andrew Berry's quarterback track record. Traded for Deshaun Watson, disaster, gave Watson a fully guaranteed $230 million contract, disaster, traded for Kenny Pickett, lasted half a season before they gave up on him, signed Joe Flacco, played well, then traded him away for nothing, drafted Dorian Thompson-Robinson, third string at best. This is the guy we're trusting to make the right call on our quarterback of the future? This is the guy who's going to decide between a broken-down 30-year-old and a talented 25-year-old with his whole career ahead of him. Forgive me if I don't have a lot of confidence in Andrew Berry's quarterback evaluation skills. Tony Rizzo summed it up perfectly when he talked about giving Shedeur a real chance.
I hope they give one of the must-do things is to give Shedeur a chance, a real chance. I want him with the ones from the OTAs all the way through training camp. And let's see what he's got. If he's not good enough, I'll be the first one to admit it. I don't believe that. I think the kid can play.
Exactly. Give him a real chance, not a half-baked competition where the deck is stacked against him, not a situation where he's splitting reps with a veteran who's already mentally checked out. Give him the full off-season program. Give him the first-team reps. Give him the opportunity to build chemistry with the receivers. Give him the opportunity to learn the new offensive system without looking over his shoulder every 5 minutes. And if he's not good enough, fine, we'll admit it. We'll draft another quarterback. We'll try again. But we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to this fan base that has suffered through decades of bad quarterback failures to find out what we have in Shedeur Sanders. Because here's the reality that nobody in that building wants to admit. Shedeur Sanders might actually be the guy. He might be the franchise quarterback we've been searching for since Bernie Kosar retired. He might be the answer to 30 years of quarterback purgatory. He might be the player who finally brings a championship to Cleveland. But we'll never know if we don't give him the chance. And if we waste this opportunity, if we bench him for Deshaun Watson, if we stunt his development, if we drive him out of Cleveland the same way we drove out Baker Mayfield, we will regret it for the next decade. Mark my words, if Shedeur Sanders goes to another team and becomes a star, if he wins a Super Bowl somewhere else, if he becomes the quarterback we all knew he could be, the Cleveland Browns will go down as the most incompetent franchise in sports history. And we'll deserve it, because we had the answer right in front of us. We had the talented young quarterback who could have saved this franchise. We had the future Hall of Famer sitting in our quarterback room. And we chose a broken-down 30-year-old instead. Joey Donnie put it best when he destroyed the Watson narrative.
He's going to be terrible. Okay, it was terrible last time. It's not going to work this time. We're kidding ourselves. It's still Deshaun Watson, this time coming off an injury. It's not going to work. It didn't work. Enough of the narrative. That would be shocking if he's the day one starter.
Enough of the narrative. Watson is not going to magically become good again. He's not going to wake up one morning and suddenly be the Houston version of himself. He's not going to overcome 2 Achilles tears and 6 years of decline and return to Pro Bowl form. It's not happening. And the sooner we accept that reality, the sooner we can move on and build around the quarterback who actually has a future in this league. Shedeur Sanders is 25 years old. He's mobile, he's got arm talent, he's got competitive fire, he's got everything you want in a franchise quarterback. Deshaun Watson is 30 years old. He's coming off major injuries. He hasn't been productive in 6 years. He's a sunk cost that we need to move on from. This should be the easiest decision in football. But this is the Cleveland Browns, and we don't do easy, we do complicated. We do dysfunctional. We do self-sabotage. So here we are in February watching Tony Rizzo and Browns fans lose their minds over a quarterback decision that should have been made the second the season ended. Start Shedeur Sanders, give him the full offseason, build the offense around him, protect him with an actual offensive line, surround him with weapons, let Todd Monken coach him up, and watch him become the quarterback this city has been waiting for since 1999. Or don't. Keep clinging to Deshaun Watson. Keep pretending that he's going to be the answer. Keep making the same mistakes you've made for 25 years. And watch this fan base finally give up hope for good. The choice is yours, Andrew Berry, but make no mistake, if you choose Watson over Sanders, if you waste another year of this franchise's future on a broken-down veteran, if you drive away another talented young quarterback, you'll go down as the worst general manager in Cleveland Browns history. And trust me, that's saying something. So do the right thing. For once in your career, make the obvious decision. Start Shedeur Sanders, and let's finally end this quarterback nightmare once and for all. Because Cleveland, we deserve better than this. We've suffered long enough. We've watched enough bad quarterbacks. We've endured enough incompetence. It's time to win. It's time to build. It's time to finally get this right. And it starts with Shedeur Sanders under center week 1. Anything else is just another chapter in the never-ending tragedy that is Cleveland Browns football. And I, for one, am done reading that book.